Hello everybody, as you just heard, my name is Sune Hamparian, and I've been an AYF member for almost 6 years now. I am an extremely lucky person, and what I mean by that is that I've had the ability to go to Armenia for almost every year of my life, and especially this last year, I've noticed what a big blessing that is. So what I wanted to do last summer was I wanted to make the most of my time there. Syunik, where I spent my summer, as you can see in the photo, has been like a second home to me for as long as I can remember. But for the longest time, I stayed in my grandfather's house. I didn't really venture out. And so this year I wanted to change that. So me and my family wanted to take the next step of involvement. And that first meant raising money for the school, which hadn't been renovated since the Soviet days. And the floors and bathrooms are actually a safety hazard. And second, our hope was to bring happiness to the kids of the village. And I think that really speaks to something I learned this summer, which was that help needs to be both material and moral. And I say that because it's not enough to do just one and not the other. It's not enough to just fix the school building, but to never interact with the kids. And it's not enough to just interact and give them one happy day, but to never actually make any difference in their quality of life. So Syunik is in the lower region of Syunik, and so for this camp we actually also invited kids from the Davidbek region. Davidbek is a local village nearby, and some things you should know about it is, one, that it is near the Azeri border, very, very close. And second, that this school, which used to have 141 kids, now only has 30. And that's because every day these kids go to school, what they see from their window is an Azeri flag. And not only do they see an Azeri flag, but they also see a military post with a sniper watching them. I can't imagine how scary that is. I can't imagine how alone you would feel in that moment every day. But what I do know is that if anyone needs to know that there is someone out there that cares for them, it's these kids. If anyone needs to know that they are not alone, that in America someone is thinking about them, it's these kids. So about the camp and planning it itself. The first step in this was meeting with the school staff, the principal, the vice principal, the staff, getting their support, and I was very surprised by how willing they were to spend their time this summer helping me out. Next was brainstorming, coming up with goals, what we hoped to achieve, and most importantly, what message we wanted to share. So another thing I noticed and learned during this experience is that the sense of community is very different there. So in the planning process, for example, if you wanted to get food for lunch, you wouldn't just go out and, order from a random menu. No, it was the secretary's husband who was willing to take his day off work and not get paid to make sure that these kids got photo bots. And it wasn't a crew you hired to cut the lawn, but it was one of the students' older brother's friends that came and took their time to do it. And even making decorations was a completely different process, There's no party store on the block, and there's no Amazon where you can just order things. So me and other volunteers spent our day cutting out these tiny banners and then threading them one by one and hanging them up. And one core memory I really do remember is it was almost midnight, because we procrastinated, as Armenians do. And I was tying together these balloons, and what I heard in the background was Sirusho music, because a group of alumni who had come back over the summer were planning choreography for the exercises the next morning. And so for the theme of the camp itself, what we went with was Hakanaka Miyasu Meche. And this essentially means that victory is found in togetherness and community. And we tried to share this message through the day's activities. The day itself. So the day started off with morning activities, morning exercises, and actually a local TV station stopped by for this, which I thought was very cool. And they did athletic games like tug of war, capture the flag, ping pong, volleyball, which got very competitive. My mom actually ended up playing for our team because we were not doing well. There was chess, actually like target practice, which you would not see in an American school. But there was also arm wrestling, which my team actually volunteered me for. I'm still not sure why, but they put me up against a champion boxer. And I was not aware of this, but I'm sure you can imagine how quickly that match went. So in the middle of the day, we had lunch, and then we did Jeopardy about famous Armenians, mathematics, history, all of that. And it got to the point where the teachers were like telling the students the answers because they got so competitive about it. So there was a bit of a mix-up and no one ended up really winning. There was also like team games, so like there were like a certain number of like wood pieces on the ground, and like everybody was like huddled together and leaning on each other, and there was a lot of falling over. But you would take the wood piece at the end and you would move it to the front, and you would like slowly move toward a target. In the evening, right after this actually was this was not planned at all, but like some of the students just attached their phone to the speakers and started dancing, and I thought that was amazing because like the range of music they listened to went from like Armenian traditional folk songs, Russian rap, to American pop. And so after that, we had a couple hours where each team met and they created a motto for themselves. And from that motto, they created posters, and which they presented at the end of the night by a campfire. So the presentations themselves were extremely moving for me because it was these kids who were speaking about what they loved about their nation. They were speaking about how much they cared for it, what they hoped to see in the future, what they had known from the past, our history, and they sang about it, and they read poetry about it, and they danced about it. And it was incredible because it was these people who you expected to have the least hope, but they seemed to have the most. And it was moving, and there were tears in my eyes. Some final remarks. If I can leave you all with one message today, it would be to go out and help. Because for the first 15 years of my life that I spent going to that village, I stayed in that house. And I didn't go out and meet people or help because I was nervous. I was scared that I wouldn't have anything to connect about them with. I was scared that they would judge me. I was scared that they would think I was like some stuck-up American. You know, and because of that fear, I was paralyzed, and I wasn't able to make the connections I made this year. And that's one thing I really regret, because these people are incredible. They are the most incredible people you will ever meet. Like, I spent less than a day with most of them, but the connections I made will last me a lifetime, because they're the kind of kind, nice, empathetic people that, like, when you're too scared to dance, what they'll do is they'll tell you have nothing to be nervous about. They'll tell you that you can't make a fool out of yourself, and they'll tell you, and then they'll teach you how to dance. And when you do embarrass yourself, they won't laugh at you. And I think that those connections are priceless. And I think everybody should get the chance to make those connections, because the look of joy you see on people's faces, even if it's just momentary, are ones you will remember. I promise you will remember, and that feeling of helping people is addictive. So what I will tell you is discover Armenia, and you will find yourself.